another rainy day here in the wilds of West Virginia. My God, will it ever stop? I don't know. Should I build an ark? I want to go out and work in my garden, but I can't. It's all mud out there. Uh, anyway, let's go to someplace where I assume the sun is shining. Miami Beach. Talk about a hood named Tommy Altamura. Altamura. Again, I spell these things out in the event I'm butchering the name, which is more than probable. I don't know why I grew up with Italian Americans, but yeah, just to be careful, you want to do your own research maybe or something. Anyway, he was a New Yorker. He was, I'm pretty sure, a made member of the Gambino crime family. He may have been an associate. I think he was a made guy in the family. The newspapers called him the enforcer because he was an enforcer. Uh, I suspect. I don't know. He had a criminal record that dated back to 1931. When he was a kid, he was acquitted of stealing a car, unlawful entry into a speakeasy in the Bronx. He eventually did 3 terms. Listen to this: 3 terms in Sing Sing. Oy, rough place, Sing Sing. In 1932, he was sentenced to 6 years on a robbery conviction. Um, he got a release from that term, and he just went out and he robbed another place in the Bronx. He got 20 years for that. So he's on parole in 1944 because sentencing, to some extent, it's kind of a joke, isn't it? I mean, the guy's 20 years, he's out in 5. So in 1944, in the summer of 44, he gets out. He's on parole, and what does he do? He and 2 other guys go over to Jackson Heights in the Queens, and who knows what it. Somebody panicked. The 2 guys ran out. Some more ran out, but he dropped his wallet on the way out, and the cops picked him up, and back to jail he goes. So in the 1960s, he's down in Florida with the Gambino loan sharking rackets down there. Really profitable stuff. He's working in the Tampa area. Eventually moves over to Miami, but he got close with Santo Trafficante, who was a boss down there in the 60s. Altamura came to an end in 1967 at the hands of a hood named Anthony Espirti. Espirti was a pretty interesting guy. Let me give you that spelling: Esprti, Espirti. I'm sure that's how it's pronounced. He came from the Queens, and he had been a professional boxer, a heavyweight boxer in the 50s. But, by the end of the 50s, he was pretty much over the hill. And a boxing promoter, if you're my age, you know this name, Chris Dundee. He was all over the place in the 1960s. He lined Espiriti up with Muhammad Ali, who was then known as Cassius Clay. And I think Dundee knew that Espiriti couldn't do much damage. They were building Ali up as a fighter. He had just gotten out of the Olympics. He got a gold medal. I mean, he was a dangerous fighter. He was good, but he had no record. And Espiriti was a club fighter. And Ali was great. He was an artistic fighter. Anyway, the bout took place in the Miami Beach Auditorium in 1961. But they called the fight. It was supposed to be a 10-rounder. They called the fight after 3 rounds on a TKO in Ali's favor because the referee called it because of the damage to Espiriti's left eye from Ali's jabs. I give the guy credit, though, go in the ring with Ali. Anyway, Espiriti and Altamura, they get into this endless argument over territories. There was bomb throwing at one point, shootouts. That all ended with, so Altamura warns Espiriti, you got to stay away from the 79th Street Causeway down in Miami. So that's a busy interfere. And it connects Miami to the North Bay Village. And he ended the discussion. He said he's going to kill Espiriti if he sees him over there. So Espiriti figures, why wait? In the late morning hours, it's Halloween. There was a Halloween party. It's October 31, 1967. Altamura, rather, I'm sorry. He's 53. He wanders into a mob bar, the Harbor Lounge in North Bay Village. And immediately, as he walks in, he's shot dead, 2 shots to the back of the head and a couple more in his body. This is all done in front of 6 witnesses. The killer was identified as Espiriti, and his girlfriend, Audrey Flower, was with him because they both got up and strolled out casually after the shooting. But Fowler left her purse in the bar, so that that led to Espiriti. Espiriti gave himself up. He surrendered. He said, nothing about nothing, and he's out on bond. But he was on bond prior to that on an extortion conviction. He's in jail, and his cellmate rats him out. He says, Espiriti said this, and that he murdered the guy and everything. So Espiriti's indicted for the murder. He got a hung jury in his first trial, but he was convicted in the second. He died in 2002. Here's some news footage of Altamura's funeral. Some of his mob friends went ballistic when the media showed up with cameras. They thought it was disrespectful. They also didn't want their photos taken. And a fight broke out. Several fights broke out.